Hello everyone, auspicious greetings to you. Today again, we are going to another section of meditation. So let's start with a little bit warming up. The weather here in Texas is a little bit gloomy this morning, but it's okay. Anyway, we just keep our mind peaceful and calm. So let's start with our little warming up. First, of course, in front of the desk and staring at a computer or laptop, you will feel your head is a little bit steep, or near your shoulder. So we are going to exercise our head and neck and shoulder. So first, we turn our head to the left and looking back at just looking back. Okay. Now turn left and looking back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now slowly back to the center. To the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to the center. Left. Looking back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To the center. To the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To the center. To the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to the center. To the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now rotate our head down a little bit and then rotate to the right, to the left, to the back, to the right, and go back to the center. Again, left, up, down, right, center. Again, left, up, down, right, left. Now beginning with the right side. Right, up, down, left, center. Again, right, up, down, left, center. Again, right, up, down, left, center. Okay, exercise our steep shoulder, work them up, backward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now our wrist, our waist, just rotate from left to the right, left to the right, left to the right, left to right. 2 more times, left, right, left, right, right to the left, right, to the left, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now our knees. I will stand a little bit closer to my mat so you can see. Okay. Now swing your 2 arms as high as your shoulder. I count 5 and you swing 1 to 5. You swing your 2 arms 6, and you have to bend down a little bit and up, bend down and up, and bend down and up. Okay, so let's go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Relax and ease, and please go back to your seat. Before we go to practice meditation, just remember you are going to sit under a Bodhi tree, the tree that Buddha had been set. So under this tree, let's find our inner peace. After the knocking of 3 times of wooden fish, please pay attention to your breathing in and out. Let yourself be at the present moment. If you are not familiar with the 7 points or 7 positions for taking meditation, please look at the screen. We have words for pay attention to the 7 points of meditation. No rush to open your eyes. Remember to rub your hands until they're warm and massage your head, your face, and pull a little bit of your ears and your neck. Okay. Rub them again till they are warm. Massage your shoulder, your arms, your fingers. Rub your two hands again, and this time put them at the back of your wrist, waist, and massage your waist. Rub them again. Massage your legs, your knees, your feet. Okay, now slowly open your eyes, and we are going to start a new section. Just give me 1 minute and I'll see you again. Our general idea is to cultivate our awareness through mindfulness. Actually, mindfulness and awareness, if you can say they are the same, yes, in some way they are the same. They are related, but actually they are distinct. So I would like to start with talking about awareness from this time, because I think we have still have 3 more times. So I would like to go into that more deeper. So today's subtitle is What is Resilience? Resilience is the word we use to describe something that is above only for mindfulness practicing. Before I go into resilience, I would like to share a very short story. The picture now you are viewing is, of course, a bunch of nuns. They are taking meditation in our headquarter meditation hall. That's a requirement. At the beginning of semester, we have a 7 days retreat, and you have to sit in 1 day, you sit at least 8 hours. So that's the picture for the young students. And of course I was one of them, because each year when we were in the Buddhist school, each semester will start with 7 days retreat. Just calm your mind, and of course control your mind. So that's the one side of our huge meditation hall. But I'm not talking about the sitting posture or the right way to sit. Today I'm concentrating on the 8 words that was from the other side of our meditation hall. These 8 words. If you can see that the green board with the silver word, it reads from right to left. Of course, that's Chinese, and here that's the Chinese pronunciation and the meaning of these 8 words. When I was young, I was very annoyed by sitting, because to me, sitting at least 40 minutes to 50 minutes, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. Why should I sit for 8 hours practicing without doing nothing? Because at that time, at the beginning, I think the sitting is very boring, because when you sit, you don't think, okay? And you don't do anything. You just sit. And one day, I decide to find something interesting. So I look at these 8 words and read them very carefully, word by word. But I still don't understand, even though that's Chinese, very simple Chinese. And it reads from right to left, 万古晴空，一朝风月. So what does that mean? I was sitting like a prison here. And why it says 万古晴空，一朝风月? And the very simple translation I could do is that a moment's moon and wind across an everlasting or boundlessly cloudless sky or clear sky. So I think I should not doing nothing to my mind anymore. I have to do something to my mind, because I feel bored, I feel uneasy, I feel unreleased. When I sit, I just feel that way. So I ponder these 8 words, word by word. And one day, I don't know what day is that, but just in one moment, it just come up in a sudden way. I feel that what is the moment of moon and wind, and I feel I understood what is everlasting cloudless sky, clear sky. So I try to find myself. While I'm sitting there with very annoyed mind, just like most of us, we live in this world, we experience not only a moment only, we experience maybe year-long moon and wind. When you look at the moon, you see or you can feel the calmness. But when the wind comes, then we feel annoyed, and we have all kinds of emotions. So how can a very calm moment can go across or can be connected to a very clear sky? I try to find the explanation. And after the long time practicing of meditation, finally I can just experience a little bit about that. When our mind is full of all kinds of emotions, negativities, just like moments and moments of moon and wind, just like that. Sometimes you feel released, sometimes you feel tightness, and sometimes you feel anger, sometimes you feel happy. And those moons and winds in our mind, it just continuously passing by. But even with these, the purpose of our practicing meditation is that we can build up a cloudless sky or we call the clear sky in our mind. And that can create our mind to be more free and more open to our circumstances or our emotions or our thoughts. That's the way I interpret it like that. And lately in my another class, I read a very little writing describing the transition moment when we move our mindfulness to awareness practicing. We need to be resilient. So I connect this to the cultivating our resilience for these 8 words. So I will like to share these with you. And what is resilience? Sometimes in general, of course, we say resilience is a kind of flexibility. We can adapt very easily to all kinds of various circumstances. But when we use resilience in the meditation, it's a specific term to explain a state of a meditation practice. That's why we don't use flexible. We don't use flexibility. We use resilience, because that's a kind of a moment, or it's a kind of a state we can experience in our own mind. Last week we talked about the mind and talk about the mind is spacious, the mind is free. So how to cultivate our mind more when we taking meditation? So resilience is the word they use to express the idea that we can go beyond just simply observing our mind or our thought, or when you are distracted, go back to your breathing. That's a kind of mindfulness practice. But if we want to move on, we are not going to practice mindfulness always. We have to move on because our mind is always changing. The circumstances or the situation is always impermanent. It's always changing. So for deeper learning, we have to learn to be more resilient and cultivate our resilience in our mind. So resilience is the idea that we can go beyond simply observing our mind and become more open and experiencing the challenges we face, both in our long time meditation practice and also in our daily life. So that's we call resilience, especially for meditation the practitioner. And that's what I feel, or that's what the 8 words said. A moment of moon and wind, even though we have moments for calmness and moments of worry, but still, when we have built up the resilience, then we can have our mind to be everlasting cloudless sky. I think that's the meaning for these 8 words. And also it suits also what we are learning resilience for. Okay, so the practice of resilience means we practice in a middle way. Usually when we have worry or when we have a negative thinking, usually just like we set up an autopilot mode. Just let the machine or let our emotion leading us. But when we have the practice of resilience, we have the right to pause, to have something to control our mind or to train our mind instead of leading by our total emotions. So if we want to build up our resilience, then we are not indulged in either extreme. That means we practice the middle path, and that's the right path Shakyamuni Buddha taught us. So when we have that kind of thinking, we build up first, we have resilience in our mind. Our mind carries a lot of resources, but usually we don't aware of that, because usually our habit is that we always let or always under control by our emotion. When we have emotion and then we forget, we have a lot of resources from our mind to tell us what to do, or the mind has a lot of resources to deliver to you, but sometimes we don't aware of that. So that's why we say we practice awareness. We have a awareness practicing meditation. From now on, that's the time for us, since we practice a lot of hours of breathing in and breathing out, and learn how to be present or how to be being at the present time. But right now we have to cultivate or use our resources in our mind. That's why last week I just had the topic of talking about our mind. Our mind is always open, our mind is spacious, and our mind is free. It is our habit to usually we just follow our thoughts, we just follow our emotions. But if we can be aware of how useful of our mind, and our mind is a lot of resources for us, then we can include all kinds of situations, but not under control of our thoughts and our emotions. So that's the differences of mindfulness practicing and awareness practicing. So you can see the words here, both practices are exactly the same, mindfulness and awareness, but awareness emphasis not the content but the context of mind. It's a little bit different. I mean, just like we want to sit well, okay, we use mindfulness practicing, and we can breathing in and out in a very balanced and very good order. But awareness gives us the space to dig more about ourselves and the situation of our thoughts and our emotions. So the contents of mind, they are thoughts, they are only emotions, but the context is a kind of space we build up in our mind. That's why they say the context is a psychological space around everything we experience. So if we cultivate more and more awareness, practicing, we see things in a different angle. We see things not only it's a trouble, it's a worry. We see things, we treat every hindrance as a learning opportunity. So the space allows us the freedom to see things differently. If you want to ask, show me the space. Why there's a space when we sit? The space, it says, is psychologically. The psychological space we create in our mind through the practice of awareness. But the base is the mindfulness. After mindfulness, and we can develop ourselves to be more awareness of our thinking and our emotions. So that's a little bit different from mindfulness to awareness. That's one thing we have to learn. And there's one thing I found out. When I was bored sitting there when I was a student, the reason why I feel bored and I feel annoyed is that I haven't opened up my mind to create a psychological space around me. That's why I feel bored, I feel annoyed, I feel discomfort when I sat there. But once we open up our mind and let the spacious mind to be there, and we see things differently. Just like at the beginning, we can hardly sit for half an hour, and we always look at the clock or thinking, why 20 minutes? It's not over yet. That's too long for me. But gradually, when you are adapt to the length of the time and you don't feel the length of the time, right? You feel, wow, just like very quick. The time flies very quick. And that's one thing we would like to build up in our mind. That's why we build up space. And the space is spacious. The space is what we call the everlasting cloudless sky or clear sky. When we have that kind of energy in our mind, not controlled by purely our emotion, and that means we have some openness, we have some space for our free mind. And psychological space, the fundamental openness of mind. and our mind's ability to experience what arises with a more open attitude. So we stop complaining. We stop just thinking of that's someone's fault, that I'm okay, I'm good. And also, we can see the space actually is the background of mind itself and has accommodating quality. So don't get mixed up with our mind and our thoughts and emotions. Our mind itself, just like the Buddha said, is the Buddha nature. When we twist up our mind, we are not awakened. But we can practice. We know the life is not always good, but it's okay. We can figure it out. We can figure out some way. We have to change or give our mind a space so that we can accommodate more. And of course, we are not followed or we are not led by our habits. So it says the space makes easier to not react habitually. That means we are not controlled by our emotion easily, because whenever some emotion arises, we just react with our own habit. But the space gives us a chance to stop and pause and react. So I think that's the space, or that's the a clear sky that the 8 words meant. Because gradually, after a long time of meditation, even though we are still living in this samsara world, but we feel eased. We cannot say we are totally released from our suffering or our imperfection, but we still can live with our mind in a more stable way. So that's one thing I would like to share with you this time. Just practice to build up more psychology space for in your mind, so that you can see more deeper about our habits or about our thinking and our emotions. Okay, so that's all I would like to share with you today. I think this is the last one, the last PPT I would like to share with you. So let's alleviate ourselves more by practicing awareness. Aware that we are not only controlled by our emotion, or not only controlled by our habits. We are going to have a new room, a new space for our original mind. Remember, original mind, that's the pure mind, and that's the spacious mind, and that's the open mind. Okay, thank you for joining me for this class, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.